So last week's episode ended with a scene in which Kofi was being confronted by Carlo Baxter. Weren't sure where it was going to go. You know, we had the fear that they were going to kill off Kofi, but a part of me thought they weren't. As a matter of fact, I was pretty sure they were not going to. Well, shit, they did. This episode opens with Kofi was in fact killed by Carlo. He put up a fight. I mean, Carlo's face is pretty messed up, so you know he definitely fought, but didn't make it. We then get Michael and Lee having to tell Kofi's family about the death, and we see that his older brother is in fact joining Desire Crew. But then we get to the end of the episode, and that's where we're going to start here. Of all the horrible things that happened to Kofi, the most horrible thing happened at the end of this episode. Jimmy Baxter, bitch ass Jimmy Baxter, his thoughts for retaliation was to blow up Kofi's home, killing his mother and his three siblings. His oldest brother did survive. He was not at the house when this happened. This clearly is going to send shockwaves through the city. This is going to cause Desire Crew to want revenge. This is going to shake I don't even know what Michael and Adam are going to do. They already are unstable in this episode. Lee is going to flip out. This is Charlie. You know, I'm curious to see his reaction. The ending of this was such an escalation, guys. It's a lot, I know, but where do you think this is going, and did you expect that? It was completely shocking to me.
And there's still, what, 6 more episodes?
There's several, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's 10. And if it's 10, that was episode 4, so shit, there's still 6 more episodes. And, you know, like we said from the jump, how are they going to drag this on for 10 episodes? But now it's, once again, how the hell are they going to conclude this? It just keeps escalating every episode. And throughout this, my favorite thing of this episode was just all the backstory. And it kind of gave it to us in like little quick snippets. You had the mom or the grandmother, the mother-in-law, who's a fucking state senator. And then you had you find out that the cop's really not their friend. Which what I kept saying was she's not the DA, or she was the public defender, and then she moved on to greener pastures and came back. It was his fucking intern. So yes, they were having an affair prior to her death. Like all these things that we've kind of talked about, but there's so much more that was unveiled in this episode. And like you said, the whole Baxter scene, you know, that part at the end where he's trying to get power back from his own wife. It is the craziest amount of shit that happened in this episode, and we still have 6 more.
I figured last episode that he was going to kill him anyway, but I thought that, you know, he'd get some information from Kofi first, and then he may kill him. Like, we know about his background, we know why he's there in prison, and, you know, all that says that, yeah, he's probably going to kill Kofi. But I thought they'd have a conversation that would kind of, you know, maybe turn the Baxter's personal investigation into this a different direction. You know, but we started off with Kofi dead, and you know, like you guys were saying before, some of the turns we took in this episode did make me look at the episode count. You know, because by the time we got to the dinner party, I was I had to stop and check to see. I was like, wait, how many do we have left? You know, are they gonna put all the cards on the table here, or are we gonna get another turn? What's going on? You know, but there were definitely a lot of surprises in this episode.
Well, even from the jump, like when they showed Kofi getting put in the body bag, they didn't really show a close-up of him. So I'm like, was this orchestrated? Are they trying to get him out of prison? Or are they going to use him as like an inside man? So my initial thought wasn't that he died. I was like, oh,
me too. I wasn't sure where it was going. Matter of fact, I even had a moment where I was like, yeah, maybe, yeah, there's something else going on. I didn't believe he was dead till the autopsy.
Well, until they showed his face the second time, when they showed the camera panned over top of him on the autopsy table, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, at first I thought Jimmy Baxter was trying to transport him out of prison to have a conversation with him or something. You know, that maybe he said something that convinced Rocco, or Rocco is the older one, right?
He's the one that was killed.
Okay, so
that's
Rocco's-
Carlo. Carlo's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Until he talked to Carlo. I mean, I thought he convinced Carlo somehow, and they were sneaking him out to talk to Jimmy personally and give him the info. I was very shocked by the fact that he was dead. Like you said, until the actual autopsy and everything, or until the scene. It was either that or the scene where Jimmy was talking to Carlo. That threw me out. I'm trying to remember which one happened first.
Yeah, I can't remember.
The autopsy happened first, and then
That's right, because then we get to the cover up. But before we go any further, welcome to Pulp Mythos. I'm Brian here with Spencer and Larry, and yes, we're discussing Your Honor, Episode 4, Part 4. If you've not hit the sub button, please do so. Lots of content coming to the channel, especially in 2021. We got big plans. Hit the upvote and leave a comment. So yeah, we're going to get back into this. So the police, with the sheriff, I think I wrote his name down, but basically they're completely aware of what took place. They don't want, supposedly, if the way he explained it, the feds would come in if there was a murder like this. So they basically just lie. And we get the whole side of it. We get him talking with Jimmy Baxter. We get him, blowing smoke up Lee's ass with, bullshit. And then we get him going to the coroner and basically telling him, yeah, you're gonna, bullshit the record here. And he did. So we're getting all the different levels of the corruption and how things are covered up, and the power of the Baxter family.
Well, yeah, they have so much pull that I don't know if this sheriff is working with the Baxter family or if he's just afraid of the Baxter family.
Ray Royce, that's his name. I just found it.
Because they mentioned, if it's an incident where they allow the inmates to hurt each other, then the feds come in. And the fact that Carlo wasn't even supposed to be at that prison. He got transported in, then a murder took place. Clearly that's, corruption. So if the feds find that shit out, then they come in and do this whole, investigation. So they were trying to sweep all that under the rug and make it look like it was just, inmate on inmate crime. Like it just happened. So then you learn all that. It's so much information that you get so quickly with how corrupt the entire system is. Not just the judicial part of it, but the prisons, the police. Like it is, holy shit. I hope this is, and I don't know anybody who lives in that area, but God, if it's indicative of how that area is, I'm sorry. God damn.
Well, I believe we actually had a commenter that said that it's pretty close.
It's very
yes,
close.
We do.
Miss T, I think it was.
Correct.
But yeah, if that's indicative of how New Orleans is, I'm sorry, y'all. That's fuck.
And it's but yeah, and it seemed like the conversation that the sheriff was having with Jimmy was sort of stating like, yeah, he may not work for them, but he sort of indirectly explained, I am very afraid of you and the things you can do, but I'm also afraid of this just as much, and this is going to cause me more heat. It's like, so no matter what you threaten me with, this can also destroy my my career and my life and everything.
You could almost call this episode was the tale of two dinners. Like you said, it's weird. The pacing of these episodes have been great, and this one also, it was all this build up to these two dinners, and both of the dinners had major sort of repercussions in the end. The first one being the dinner with Adam and Michael and their friends and family. Adam he gets in a fight in school, and his grandmother comes to help him. Turns out Elizabeth is the character's name. She's a fucking senator. So like the power in this family, we keep learning more and more. Anyways, she discovers that they're lying about the whole taking flowers to the grave on the day of. She knows that now. They have Nancy, the detective, come over. You have Charlie there. Lee shows up. They're discussing the case. They're discussing Kofi. The bloody rag surfaces. I mean, that entire sequence, I'm on the edge of my seat like, oh, like you guys said, I'm like, what? How many episodes are left? What? Oh my god! Oh my god! And Detective Nancy, she sees the bloody rag, and her mind's automatically. She's like, "Hey, what is that?" Like I'm sitting there, like, "Oh no!" Although I think Michael handled everything very well. He didn't bring attention to it. He just sort of put it away. He said, "Hey guys, we're going through a difficult time. Yes, we're lying about certain things, but it's because we're, still suffering because of Robin's death." So I think he handled it well, but him and Adam did have that falling out, and we keep seeing Adam get more and more on the edge the more he learns about what's going on. Like I said, Kofi's family being blown up. How the hell is Adam going to deal with that? What are your guys' thoughts on the dinner? And what I just said about Adam's state of mind.
I think I don't know how much Adam unraveling is going to play in at this point, because it shows that the grandmother is very much trying to protect Adam. So I don't know even if he unravels, if anything will happen to Adam. I think that Michael may go down. It's clear that as much as she will do anything to protect Adam, she was never a real big fan of Michael.
Do you get the impression, Spencer, speaking of on that exact point, Elizabeth, even based on how she was described, her opinions on Kofi and the things they were saying, she seems like the type that even if she knew the truth, she'd play ball to help Adam?
Yes.
Like, I was getting that vibe.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that yes, she would play ball to help Adam, but not to help Michael. Michael is not her favorite person.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It seems to me like she thinks that whatever's being covered up, Michael's at fault, and that's probably how she views the world. Well, that's probably how she views them overall. Is that if anything, that bad happened, then it's probably because of Michael, or that his son is covering for him. Because I feel like if she knew the situation, she wouldn't be pushing for some of these things. She wouldn't have pushed for the investigator that Adam told her about to come to dinner if she knew the situation. She'd probably be trying just hard to cover it up, or at best she'd probably much like the teacher, she wouldn't want anything. She wouldn't want to know anything about that. But I feel she's pressing the issue because she feels like whatever's going on, it may be Michael's fault, or she may be able to help Adam with whatever's going on. She doesn't know the severity of the issue, and like you were saying before, that is one of the tensest TV dinners I have I have ever witnessed. It's
the shrimp look good.
The shrimp did look good. That was a very southern meal right there.
Well, when she brought that big pot out, I was like, "Oh, she's making gumbo." Immediately, I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, but yeah, that was very tense, and we were going back and forth from one dinner to another. They were both tense, but Michael's was so much tenser, and just everybody seemingly in their personal life that could make or break them were right there, and they were playing a balancing act they didn't expect to play. It was Lee, the mother-in-law, the detective, and it was a scene where Michael's trying to get Adam to realize what their situation is, because he's talking about everything in the detective, and it really just doesn't seem like Adam really gets it, which is why he was trying to explain to him. It's like, yeah, she's not your friend. It's like, yeah, in the past she has been my friend, but right now here in this situation, she ain't your friend. Whatever happens, she's not going to side with you. She's going to side with the law. She may have been a little lenient on you when we just thought this was a random person when I was going to drag you in, which is why I called her. But here now in this situation, not your friend. Not gonna vouch for us. Not with the amount of things that have piled up. And I think this was him putting the cards on the table, trying to get his son to realize what situation they're in. Which Adam seemed as usual set on digging a hole.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy too that you have a judge, a senator, prospective not congressman, mayor, and a detective and a public defender all in a room eating dinner together, and that was 1,000 times more tense than the mob boss having dinner. Like it was funny to see that all these connected people having dinner was way more tense than an organized crime family having dinner.
Exactly, and it was amplified by this is a group of people who, for the most part, or at least under normal circumstances, know and trust each other. A group of family and friends, and there's so many secrets being kept. They're investigating. Some of these characters are investigating other characters without even knowing it, and the other ones are lying. And the ones who aren't doing either are trying to figure out the lies, without even having a clue of of the scope of what's really going on.
And this is something that I was looking at while I was watching that part of the episode. Remember, all the pictures that he took as part of his portfolio were all of this crime scene prior to it being general knowledge of it being a crime scene. So he took pictures of the jail, of the accident site, all these things, and he just showed the detective that. And now the grandmother knows that they were not there on the day that they said that they were dropping shit off. So two people with different information, both implicating Michael and Adam.
Now, see, that was something I wanted to go back and look. Like, did he put those photos in that particular portfolio? Because I figured since he passed in two different directions, that either his grandmother would get her hands on those photos, or the detective would do so, and she probably has, and probably is hitting them away. If she saw some of the photos he took, especially since they were like of the car and of bruises and whatnot, she would probably sneak those away without letting them know. And now that she's getting friendly with the grandmother, or if she didn't, the grandmother did, just out of concern, and now that those two are getting friendly, because he told her that she didn't drop, the case with the car and everything. That may be what ties this thing together as far as the investigation is concerned, just because these two are communicating, and in all likelihood, at some point, they'll talk to Lee in depth a little more.
Lee is the one who, is digging and digging and digging. If any of the characters potentially get taken out, I think it's possible it could be Lee. The police may try and go after her. She's really digging in, and if what she knows to be true came out, it would devastate the department. So I could see something like that maybe happening. But yeah, the pictures, that was when he brought out the pictures, I'm like, are those the fucking pictures from, I'm like, is this a dumbass really doing this? Like, I wasn't sure about it, and I'm like, oh my God, man, what are you doing?
Right.
And like you said, Adam's just, he's losing it at this point. So much so that when he confronts his teacher, she's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, like, it was funny because she's like, yeah. We got to, not talk about it. And he almost seemed like shocked, but then there was sort of that creepiness where she feeds him the whole line. And now, we're starting to get a better picture of how this all took place. I am in love with you. Yes, this is true love, but we've got to wait. We've got to be quiet. And so she's feeding him all those lines. And then, of course, he ends up fighting his friend because he talks about, I forget what he's going to, something about his dick or something.
Wants to send his teacher dick pics.
Yeah, it was something stupid. Yeah,
he felt like she would like him.
Yeah. He said, he said stupid teenage boy stuff to his friend that he thought his friend would think was funny, and not realizing their situation because apparently he hasn't even told his best friend.
Which is good.
Yeah,
in this situation, because at this point now she's attached to the cover up of the murder, and so you know what I mean, like. That's how twisted this story keeps getting. Like, even that can't come out because that could lead to other things,
Well, yeah, and you go ahead.
I was just going to say it tied in later to, she was basically saying it's okay to lie. And then later his dad was saying it's okay to lie. So you got two different people telling Adam it's just a little white lie. It's just a little white lie. And Adam's like, these are not little white lies. These are big fucking deals. And you're just trying to sweep it under the rug. So now Adam is hearing from two different groups of people it's okay to lie. And then it
Adam,
shows later.
he's a murderer and he's in a sexual relationship with his teacher. Like, shit is crazy for Adam right now. And you're right, everyone around him is like, nah, it's all good.
Well, yeah, because they're all tied in now. They're all tied in. She's gonna do some time, if everything comes out, like because, like, she'll do some time if they find out about her relationship with him, if they start investigating him and whatnot, if they start finding her things at his place, that sort of thing that looks bad for her. She's very tied to it. And if he completely confesses and they find out that she's known for this long and hasn't said anything, that's trouble for her. And everybody seems to realize, how much trouble it is, except for Adam. And, I think you spelled it out, Spence. The fact is, he's looking at it in a very black and white way, whereas they're like, no, man, we're all going down if you do this. It's like, is it wrong? And they're like, yeah, it's absolutely wrong. But it's like, you got to make up your mind whether you want to do the right thing and suffer the consequences of doing the right thing, or if you want to live your comfortable life and if you're good with those with the evil you've done.
What?
Well, not even necessarily if you're good with it, but if you can live with it.
What if the teacher?
Something's vibrating very loud.
I hear it. No,
Yeah, that was my phone. My bad.
Okay.
I thought you were playing bongos or something.
It was on the counter.
Playing the steel drums. But what if the teacher ends up having Adam killed, or kills Adam and makes it look like a suicide to try and protect her own career? What if like she has a hand in him dying, trying to protect herself, and it has nothing to do with either gang as far as Adam's undoing? Because he's super scared about her career. She's like, hey, dude, you can't say nothing. I love you, but this will literally ruin me.
Well, yeah, and she's manipulating him for that reason. And, honestly, it's not his relationship with her that I see as being the issue with him. It's the fact that he seems way too interested in Rocco's life and seemingly in Rocco's sister for some reason.
Oh yeah, we're getting to that.
I was going to bring it up, but I knew you had some notes on that, Brian.
I was going to lead. Let's go before that. Gina and Jimmy, because that leads into this. So Jimmy and Gina. Everything Larry, I think you were saying, and Spencer, y'all were like, yeah, she's running shit. Well, it turns out that is completely true. Even his crew is basically taking orders from her. Jimmy is just, how a lot of, shows portray sort of the head of the mob, like Tony Soprano. Yeah, he's a piece of shit, but he's sort of cool. Jimmy is not cool. Jimmy is this bumbling idiot who cries and whines about everything, who doesn't have his shit together. And then when he finally sort of takes control, he kills some, he blows up children. He's just a shit guy. And we get sort of that fight between him and his wife this episode, and it connects to their daughter. Their daughter is having a crisis of faith. They're a religious family. She's questioning the religion. This is upsetting Gina. They have a big fight about it twice. Her and the daughter, and then Jimmy and the daughter at dinner. And so then Jimmy goes and whines in the bathroom, and he's pacing back and forth, and that's when he decides he's going to murder children. But she decides she's going to go to a visual, what do you call them? Visual. Yeah, for Rocco. Rocco, was a young guy, but he was very popular, had a lot of friends, and there's this whole little thing going on, and she's going to go. And for whatever reason, Adam has sort of been stalking her. Like we saw it earlier, and at first I thought he was just, seeing what was going on with Rocco. He felt bad, but then she was in a picture, and now he shows up and he sort of goes in front of her. And then if you see the preview for next week, they see each other again. So I don't know. He's got this weird infatuation now with Rocco's sister. That's that's gonna go really bad. Talk about yet again another escalation of the situation. What do you guys think? About Jimmy and his wife, that dynamic, and then B, what the hell is Adam thinking?
Well, it's Jesus Christ. Uh, I don't know. God, it's one of those things where it's, he's stalking her on Instagram, and he's familiar with who she is. She doesn't really know him yet, but then they show the relationship with the teacher is going to shit, and I don't know. And Adam is such a dumbass. He's going to be everyone's undoing if someone doesn't basically kill him. So that to me, the question is, who's going to take Adam out? Because that's what it's going to take to basically save everyone else.
Well, yeah, I think you're right. And the funny thing is, it may not be due to how sloppy he's been with this whole thing. It may not be due to any of the evidence. It may be due to the fact that he's getting too close to people that he truly just doesn't seem to understand how dangerous they are. And Jimmy's got his temper, and his daughter, doesn't see eye to eye with his wife about, the religious stuff. And, he just seems to, be an idiot who wants some degree of peace, and so with that happening, with him being kind of an artistic type, and, having certain, academic interests, which seems like they might overlap with her, philosophical and whatnot, with what she's thinking, chances are they can get involved. And chances are her relationship with him could put them in a place, where she's at the table and they're having another dinner, and she's like, well, Adam says this and Adam says that, and then maybe, and I doubt, being the mobster he is and is protective of his, neat little life that he has, Jim, I doubt very much that when he starts seeing his daughter or starts hanging out with his daughter too often, that he's not going to investigate him and see that, how involved his family is with Kofi Jones. It may, and it's the sort of thing, and that his car was stolen by Kofi, and he may indirectly blame him for that, and, not even having the whole picture, and he may, blame him for his daughter's continued, rebellious nature and everything, and, he may just kill him because of that. He may die for, sort of unrelated reasons, is the thing. Because Jimmy's definitely a hothead.
And I've said it before, that it always boggles my mind that, like, when they show mob people, even in The Sopranos, it's like, you fuck with my family, I will destroy you. But they're killing all these other people, making orphans of other people. And like this, it showed Jimmy blowing up a person's house to, like, prove a point. Yet his daughter's not allowed to, believe in a different religion, because and those kind of things always boggle my mind. For the mom to basically order her son to kill a kid, but then doesn't want her, like, own daughter to not question the Lord. Like, it happens. Like, and this isn't the only mob type movie that does that. Like, it's a trope that they show constantly. So I don't know how true or how much based in reality this is, but it happens all the time. And it's crazy to me to see, the hypocrisy of that kind of thought process.
It goes back to, the original Godfather film, where, the christening of his, he's the godfather of his sister's child, and in that same sequence, the back and forth of all the hits that he just ordered, all the heads of the families being killed, and yet the religious aspect. So the whole idea, the religion and the mob, goes back as far as the entertainment side, for decades.
Well, yeah, and it's a part of it, and it's a sort of thing that we actually see the daughter question in this episode when she asks, like, do you think Rocco's in heaven? And they're like, well, why would you ask that? And of course, as the audience, you instantly think, well, why wouldn't she ask that? You're a mob-related family, and you do a lot of bad things, and and your son profits from those things, and we don't know how to what degree Rocco was involved in the mob-related stuff, but one would imagine to the same degree his brother did at that age, and you imagine that whether he was involved or not, he saw nothing bad about profiting off of it to some degree, about the fact that that's what paid for his new motorcycle, and that's what pays for his life. He seems perfectly fine with it because we saw no signs before he died. The few scenes that we did get, the earliest scenes in the show, that he was discontent with that life at all in the slightest.
The Desire crew, we've been getting a little bit of them, we got some of them in the prison scene where, they were talking with Kofi. We've gotten the one guy who's been trying to take care of Kofi's family, recruiting his older brother into the crew. I think we're going to see a lot more of Desire crew going forward. This was not just an assault on one of their soldiers' families. This is assault on the neighborhood, everyone. There's a racial element to this, absolutely. This is a big fucking deal, and this is not only are they going to want to react and retaliate. Like I said before, Lee is not going to let this go. Michael, he's going to crumble under this. This is going to destroy him more than anything up to this point. Don't know. Adam's a wild card. Who knows what he'll think or do. And then even Charlie's running for mayor, and he just, this happened on his watch to a degree. So what do you guys think? And you can go person by person, or you can, however you want to do this. What do you think the repercussions of this massacre will be?
I don't know. Shit. It showed Charlie basically saying that, regardless of what's going on, he is trying to be there for his constituents. He's trying to be there for his people.
He seems to legitimately care. Yeah, he's trying to. Yeah.
But on the same note, he was also talking to the cop, saying that they were involved in having Kofi killed because they were the ones that helped transport Carlo to basically take out Kofi. So it's weird because it's like, yes, he cares about his people, but in the same note, I felt like they were showing as an audience that maybe he was connected to Desire Crew. But now on the same note, it showed that he was willing to take Kofi out. Now, was that for Desire Crew, or was that more for Jimmy? I don't know which side of the table he's on as far as corruption goes, but it shows that it seems like he cares about his people, but on the same note, who's feeding him money? Who has, their hands in his pocket?
Well, yeah, and it seems like he's tied to that cop, and he's using political and law enforcement connections to then use the, tied with the gang connections. But then again, he called what's his name? The seems to be the top street level guy. Didn't he call him personally, or did the cop call him? I'm trying to remember which.
I can't remember.
I think the cop may have called him. Which shows another. I'm not sure which. It was one of those. But my thought is, what Charlie is going to get out of this is, he may, if things continue as they do, and if he's not implicated in any of this, the only thing Charlie, may get as far as consequences, he might get out on top, is the thing. Because if they can't implicate him, you were saying it happened on his watch. But my first thought is, like, technically it didn't. Technically, he's not in charge yet. He's not in office. This is more a push. This is a way for him to push for his clean up the streets message that he's talking about, where he's like, I can turn these neighborhoods around. Your current mayor isn't doing this. He's not doing that. You know,
That's a great point. Yeah, you make a great point. Yeah.
You know, so he may be someone that we see come out on top of this. And as far as caring, when he's talking to Michael, it seems like what he cares about is getting that office, you know, and what his true motivation is, we don't know yet. But the way he's presenting it to Michael is, you know, he's like, I get this. Yeah, this one person suffers, but if I get this, you know, if I get this seat at the table, then everybody will benefit for it. If we can just cover this up, if I can maintain my power, then everybody benefits from it. If I don't, then everyone suffers. You know, and that's how he's presenting it to Michael at the very least.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, exactly. Good point, especially with the fact that he can probably use this to his advantage.
He can spin it.
He can spin it. I think the question will come: Will he feel responsible, and what will his side conversations be with Michael, or will he just say, you know what, it is what it is? And I think we might get that in the next episode. I don't know what Michael is going. We saw how much it hurt him sitting there across from Kofi's mother. And so now to know that everything he's been doing has led to this, it's his fault. You know, like the burden is just going to, I think, continue to build on his shoulders with what happened.
But even saying that, now is Michael going to be I don't know, and a problem for Charlie, because Charlie was putting that cop in his place, basically being like, hey man, you got to take care of this shit, because if you become an issue, you're not going to be my chief of police. But now all this pressure being on Michael, I think that Charlie was relying on basically having the courts be in his back pocket too. When he becomes, you know, in charge, now he also has the, you know, basically the power in the courts as well. But now, is he going to see Michael as a liability? So
he might.
And that's so. I think we're going to see. Although I felt like Charlie cared, and he cared about his people, and he cared about his town, he cares most about power. So, at what point is he going to stop at nothing to achieve that? I don't know.
I think if Charlie, whomever, if anyone feels that Michael's decisions are going to destroy them, then Michael becomes their enemy. And I think that, you know, could happen. I don't know. Michael, this episode went back and forth from not, you know, losing it to sort of getting it back under control. And then, boom, you know, the ending happened. So, yeah. I mean, the tension... Go ahead.
Well, all I wanted to say was that, you know, and maybe, you know, even if he's looking at this as at Michael as a dangerous sort of element as well, you know, Charlie, you know, hasn't silenced Michael in any way, or hasn't pushed to have him silenced in any way, because, you know, right now Michael is a stabilizing force, seemingly, you know, like the fact that he's manipulating people through Michael, he's swaying his opinion, and who's to know which way his son goes, you know, like what his son will be willing to say if Michael's not there to stop him from saying those things. True. And not only that, but, you know, we see now with additional tie, the additional ties of the grandmother. Yes, exactly.
Michael's a high profile judge in a major city. He has big friends, and then his wife's mother is a damn senator. There's a lot of power. Taking Michael out is risky business, because, you know, it could bring investigations and stuff. So you're right. I mean, Michael, the more we learn about his connections, the more it seems like, even Jimmy Baxter. If Jimmy Baxter found out the truth, he'd have to be very careful with how he handled it.
Right. Oh yeah. You know, so it's a sort of thing where it's like, how would Jimmy Baxter go about this? And, you know, because there's so many elements, there's so many hands involved that, you know, I know we said this earlier, but I very much went from thinking, you know, how are they going to stretch this across 10 episodes, to thinking, are we seriously not getting a season 2? Is there going to be a season 2? Because, you know, there's so many elements, you know, like things are escalating to a Game of Thrones amount of players involved in this thing.
And I have no idea. I don't know how this ends. I would, yeah. At this point, I'm in. I'm in. As far as if it kept going, absolutely. Um, is there anything? We're at the end of my notes. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Well, I'd like to mention, like we mentioned earlier about, Jimmy's wife. What's Jimmy's wife's name again?
Gina.
Gina. That's right. Yeah, I forgot to say my piece on her, but it seems like she knows just the right buttons to push with Jimmy. That, like we were saying before, Jimmy is officially on paper as being the boss, but honestly, when they were having those conversations, when she was pressing him, when he went and walked downstairs, I wasn't 100% sure because of how intense his temper is that she didn't sign her death warrant there. But now we
That's
saw
what I'm thinking.
you thought that too, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I thought, okay, he's going to kill her, but it seems like she knows just how to play him, and that's how she maintains the level of power that she has. It's like, but how far does that go? Is there a breaking point to that, and are we going to see her push him to that point?
Well, and that was crazy too. That she was proud of the fact that he blew up a house with a mom and children in it. And she was like, "Oh, I love you again because now you're showing me how strong you are." I was like, "Holy shit. Like how fucked up is she?"
Right.
I don't know. And like you said, Larry, when he flipped out at his daughter, basically in his wife's defense, and then he went downstairs. I was like, "Oh no, she's dead." I was just waiting for that dude to like pop up behind her and like take her out. But later on, it's like she was proud that he was finally taking, charge. So I don't know. I really don't know which one is really going to be in control when it comes down to it. I don't know if it's going to be Gina pulling the strings or if it's just showing how much of a loose cannon Jimmy's getting ready to be. And does that end up making him a liability to their, I guess, their empire? Does that, start making his, decision making? Does that make him? Does him being a loose cannon, bring their empire to its knees? I don't know.
And that's a very good point because it seems like even though she was more in a bit, well, we thought she was being impulsive. Well, at least I thought she was being impulsive in this episode at first, but it was all calculated to manipulate Jimmy. So it seems like she's the stable force there, and heck, maybe she even manipulated her. She likely manipulated her way into this marriage to seize power, by being married to Jimmy Baxter. So, like I think you're sort of saying here, if it's him on his own, or if something happens to Gina, what is Jimmy Baxter? Is he now this impulsive guy who's just only governing his gang by the whims of his emotions, whatever he's feeling at that moment? Because that's what he seems to have been so far.
Yeah, I agree. She's definitely running the show and doing the manipulation. And I would assume, based on the way they're dynamic, that as far as the professional business side, she's running that shit too. So yeah, I think so. Jimmy he's a wild card character, similar to Adam at this point, where their emotions rule them, and therefore it's hard to always predict what they're going to do next. And it's interesting,
Absolutely, and I just want to point out also that when he was clearly very angry, at one of his guys, I guess one who helped out his son there with trying to kill Kofi, when he was scolding him for taking his wife's orders and everything. Like she came in there and she dismissed them.
and gave an order.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good.
It's like,
Yeah.
so, he's like, who do you work for? And she came in, he's like, you seem to be confused about who you work for. And she came in and answered that question. He's like, no, he's not. He's not confused about who he works for.
Yeah.
He works for the Baxters, and, Jimmy when Jimmy's, having a whim, and her for any sort of calculated thing. Like, and she seems to be able to override what Jimmy wants.
That character's name was Joey. I wrote it down. But yeah, great television, great acting, great, everything across the board. Last question: do you think the bloody cloth will play a role? They've been building it up for episodes. It has come out. Nancy saw it. He sort of downplayed it. What's he going to do with it? Is it going to come up again, or is it a throwaway plot point?
I don't know. Shit. Like, it's it. I think that it shows now that maybe the detective noticed that there was blood on that cloth. Now, are the pictures that Adam took, is that going to implicate him in the crime scene? Because, he took pictures of the jail, took pictures of the car, took pictures of where the murder took place. Well, I guess the accident took place. He didn't he did kill him, but when I hear the word murder, I'm thinking, I shot you because of this. It's
it was manslaughter.
Yeah, but where the crime took place, and now she saw all these pictures, and then she saw a bloody cloth. Like, it's one of those things where I think it is going to be important, but I think it's, the grandmother, the senator, also saw those pictures. So is she going to start to figure out that maybe Michael's covering up the murder? So all of these people saw that, and are they going to start piecing those things together?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. And not only that, but I'm wondering if it'll.
I'm just thinking which one. I think they are going to piece it together, but I'm just thinking which one's going to piece it together first.
Because remember, Charlie doesn't even know the truth. Remember, Charlie doesn't know all the details. He was never told all the details of what happened.
Yeah, he's covering his.
He knew. He just knows about the car. that he was getting a car, but he's never had a conversation where he's like, "Yeah, Adam is the one that killed Rocco." Now he assumes it, or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, the only people that know are Adam and Michael, and his Franny, his teacher.
Well, and this may be another lesson in, just how corrupt the system can be, because given the people that we've just mentioned that Adam is connected to, that Michael is connected to, it's like all the evidence may be there, but it may not even matter. You may have one detective and one lawyer, screaming from the rooftops about the evidence and everything, and in the end, with the level of power they have between them, a senator, potentially the mayor, the police force trying to cover up because of their involvement, it may come out and it may not even matter. It may be the sort of thing where it's known, but they get away with it, or it gets covered up by the police. They're trying to push it through the system. They're trying to present the evidence, and they get silenced, by one of the smaller forces we don't know about it, be it like the law enforcement or anyone else who is tied to this, or even because he's tied to it, the guy from Desire Crew we keep seeing, who seems to be in charge of the street gang portion of it, at least, he, because maybe they'll ask him, Lee will ask him some questions, thinking that he at least would want justice for his friend, because Lee doesn't have the whole story, and she doesn't know that he was contacted to cover this up. So there's no telling, if they get silenced, or if it or if they go to the wrong person, there's so many wrong people that they could wind up going to, or it could end with them all going, separate ways, trying to work different avenues. But it doesn't matter because, like you said, now a senator's aware. Now, now someone from Desire Crew knows, and they don't want this all-out war with Jimmy Baxter, or they don't want to escalate things further, so they're trying to silence it. Because. And also Charlie trying to, maintain political power. There's so many powerful people who would want this silenced that they may not get the chance to tell the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a hell of a 4 episodes. I mean, the show just keeps picking up episode after episode. Very much looking forward to the remainder of it. Like you said, we're almost at the halfway point. Still several left to go. Everybody's knocking it out of the park. Any last words, guys, before we wrap this up?
Nope.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Appreciate everyone listening. As I said, we'll be back next Sunday with another Your Honor review and a lot of content coming. Oh, we're doing 30 coins. That'll be starting, I think, on the 4th of January. We haven't discussed the day. It'll either go up the 4th or the 5th. It'll be in those 2 days. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.